Coming up on the show, a source of controversy finally getting its grand opening after it was required to tone down its color. Also, a vital artery of Metro Atlanta traffic is getting a financial boost. We're going to dive deep into the plan to spruce up Georgia 400. And get ready to count more than just your blessings here in Georgia. This month, it's all about the bees, the butterflies, and the buzzing little MVPs of our food supply. This is The Take. Well, let's get it. Hello and welcome, I'm Chesley McNeil, and this is The Take, where we go above and beyond the headlines. We look at the how and the why stories are impacting you and your community. We invite the experts in to give their professional take on what's going on around our area as well. We try to have some fun if we can. All right, check this out. It was meant to be a colorful showcase, but it became too colorful. Brookhaven's $78 million Center City was initially set to have a center dome with mosaic panels, what you're seeing right there on the screen. Instead, some folks expressed concern, liking it to a circus tent or a children's toy. Eventually, the city leaders decided to remove the brightly colored glass panels and keep the dome open air until a suitable replacement is installed. Now, Brookhaven Center City is about to hold its grand opening this upcoming weekend. We welcome back the mayor of the city, John Park. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
We talked about this a little while ago, and you had expressed that, you thought the color was a little bit maybe too bright, and so you're just going to take all the panels down and maybe just leave it as it is. What lessons have you learned from this experience so far, Mayor?
Well, I think it's to stay calm and to do as much when you're looking at testing and when you're looking at comparing things, get as close to real life situation as you can before you install.
Yeah. Have you guys decided since the last time we talked to replace anything, or are you just going to leave it like it is?
For the time being, we're going to leave it like it is. Honestly, I was up there the other day at sunset, and without the glass, it was actually very beautiful, and it was a nice effect. But that's just me personally. We're looking at all our options, or some options that we're talking about is we put a tent on the glass to make it a little more muted. Another possibility is just to have clear and blue and green and certain colors that mesh better, and maybe not have some of the brighter primary colors. So we're looking at all options. We're in no rush to throw anything up there. This is going to be a long-standing generational building. So we're going to take our time.
Since the panels have been removed, have you gotten any feedback from the community since?
I've gotten some feedback saying, oh, I actually like those tiles. I've gotten some feedback. It's like, oh, I'm so glad that you removed them. I would say a solid majority is actually happy that we removed the tiles.
Yeah. Besides Center City right there itself, beyond the city hall offices, how do you envision the building serving as a hub for the community?
Well, I mean, I think tomorrow is a perfect example. We have our city opening, city center opening. It's going to be a grand opening, a ribbon cutting. We're going to start the day with, Zumba classes, silver speaker classes, scavenger huts for the kids, face painting. We'll have all our community partners there with booths, to educate people. And we're going to have a little concert with Jupiter Coyote performing. They also, you may know that they performed at our Cherry Blossom Festival. They're going to be performing in the main atrium area that opens up to the event space. Mm-hmm. So I see us having a lot of community events, just people gathering, watching movies, having mini concerts, having just general community engagement. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, sounds like a good time for the grand opening. Now, I mean, will that be the case going forward as well? I know that 60% of the building will be dedicated to public space. Is that how it's going to be used? Yes,
it's going to be 60% of this is public space. I envision people just grabbing a coffee. We do have a coffee shop there and a gift shop, and just hanging out. Maybe going in and having a drink before I get on MARTA to go to an event, downtown or after. Mm-hmm. But also it's the roof area, the roof event space, as well as the main atrium event space is rentable. So if you want, we actually already have weddings booked.
Wow.
In September.
Yeah.
So I think, considering some of the photos we took and how great they looked from the roof and the Atlanta skyline, I think I think it'll be a draw.
Yeah, so some people already wanting to get involved with it. So how do you measure it as a success? How do you measure a project like this as being a success?
I measure it in touches. I've gotten so many just unsolicited comments from people. It's like, wow, when I come around on Peachtree Road, coming out of Buckhead, and I make that turn, and I see your building, and the sun is hitting it, it is just absolutely amazing. There's a photo going around of a rainbow, a double rainbow going over our city center, and it's just really bright and really it's just striking. And I think the people of Brookhaven wanted something that was impressive. They wanted something to be proud of, and I think we've absolutely met that goal.
Yeah. Finally, Mary, for those that may still have some doubts about it, what would you say to them? What's your message to them?
Come sit on the roof with me and have a cup of coffee.
And be mesmerized by the views, right?
Yes.
Sounds good. Well, we wish you all the success for your event, your grand. When is the actual grand opening taking place?
11 a.m. tomorrow morning at City Center, 4001 Peachtree Road.
Okay, and we'll be going on all the way through the day, right?
All through the day. This concert starts at 5.
Okay, your weather should be good.
That'll be great. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, Mayor. Really appreciate it. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Speaking of the weather, it looks good. Yeah, for tomorrow. I'm calling today and tomorrow really bonus days. Now, when they get the festivities started there in Brookhaven at 11 o'clock, there probably will be clouds around, and it probably will look as if it's going to rain, but the rain threat is very low. Only a 20% chance for an isolated shower or two on Saturday. 86 will be the afternoon highs, so once the sun starts to break out from behind those clouds, it will lighten up that building a little bit there. Very, very nice. Or wherever it is you're going to be going and partaking in over the weekend. Now, Sunday brings in a few more clouds and about a 30% chance for some isolated thunderstorms around the area on Sunday. And where we have those thunderstorms will be some brief heavy rain. Some frequent lightning could be associated with a few of those. A lot of us won't see it, though. Again, it's only a 30% chance. 85 will be the high. Next week brings in a little bit more humidity. So you're looking at a 40% chance Monday, Tuesday, 50% chance by Wednesday, and that temperature starts to go back up. We should be around 90 degrees. We'll hit that by Thursday of next week. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're back right after this. Welcome back to the show. President Trump's so-called reciprocal tariff plan has been in place now for 24 hours, and we're now starting to see some of the fallout from that. Joining us now is NBC's Jay Gray from Washington, New York. And Jay, good morning to you. First of all, the import fees are on more than 90 countries, set anywhere between 10 and 50%. But economists are saying that consumers are the ones bearing the brunt.
Yeah, right, Chesley. Good morning. And Yale's Budget Lab did an estimate on this and what the new tariffs will cost the average American. They say it will be an extra $2,400 a year for a family. Business is expected to take an even bigger hit, and those numbers could go even higher. President Trump promising another round of tariffs, which could more than double the price of some medicines, microchips, and semiconductors. And for reference, a majority of high-tech imports already taxed at 100%. Chesley, that could double, according to the president.
Wow. So while those prices are going up, the president's poll numbers seem to be going in the opposite direction. And you got some new numbers, some new poll numbers for this?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really across the board that the latest numbers from CNBC are not good for the White House. The president's overall approval rating has dropped. His economic approval rating is up just a tick, but still remains in negative territory. 53% disapprove of the way he's handling the economy, compared to 55% in June, the last poll on that. Those responding also hold a negative view of President Trump's handling of tariffs, inflation, taxes, and federal spending. And a closer look inside the tariff data shows 49% saying they hurt American workers, with only 31% saying they help, and 67% say they are raising the cost of everyday goods. So not a lot of people charged up about the tariffs right now.
Yeah. Has the White House made any comments about that so far?
At this point, no. The president has said in the past that he believes there is going to be some difficult times when he enacts these, but he believes in the long haul this is going to be better for the economy and ultimately for those at home.
Yeah. All right, finally, another deadline from the White House. The president threatening to increase economic sanctions on Russia if Vladimir Putin doesn't call for a ceasefire on the war in Ukraine by midnight. Where are both sides sitting at this particular hour, Jay?
Well, I don't think anyone believes there will be a ceasefire at midnight tonight, though clearly talks between the White House and Kremlin have intensified. With growing speculation, President Trump and Russian President Putin could meet face to face and discuss a potential peace plan as early as next week. Will that talk and the possibility of a summit push off those increased sanctions? We just don't know at this point. Now, initially, there were indicators that President Trump would only agree to the meeting if Putin also agreed to sit down with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. But last night, the president said he would be willing to take part in a bilateral summit without Zelensky there. So, Chesley, a lot to keep watching even over the weekend to see if there's any movement on this. We don't have anything set in stone, but it does look like they are pushing towards this type of meeting.
Yeah, okay. We'll keep our eye on it, of course. We'll be checking back in with you, Jay. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you, and make sure you have a great weekend, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Plenty more stories for you coming up. This is The Take on 11Alive Plus and the ATL. We're back right after this. Welcome back to the show, folks. Right now, let's take a live look at Georgia 400 on this Friday. Maybe you won't have that shot, but northbound, looking pretty good, at least right now. This area is a 16-mile stretch, which will soon have express lanes in place to help ease some of that congestion out there. And this comes as part of a nearly $4 billion infrastructure financial move for the U.S. Transportation Department. Joining us now is Kyle Collins from GDOT. Welcome back to the show, my good friend.
Hey, good morning.
All right. Talk to me about this work that's going to be happening on Georgia 400 and the need for it in the first place.
Obviously, given the growth of that North Fulton area and also into Forsyth County, projected to grow even more into 2050, these express lanes are going to provide an option in both directions to provide a more reliable commute, also expand transit options that currently don't exist in the corridor, as well as help those existing mainline lanes to have less congestion and a quicker trip each morning and afternoon.
Yeah. How much of a boost is this to get that money from the federal government?
It's great news, reaching what we call financial close on August 5th. A lot of collaboration for months and years between GDOT, CERTA, USDOT, and obviously our private sector partner, State Route 400 Peach Partners, to get this done. Essentially what this step means is the financing is approved and available for things to move forward to finalize design of these express lanes in the 16-mile corridor from the North Springs MARTA to McFarland Parkway, and really to begin construction. So you'll start to see a little bit of work in September and October, but the heavy construction will begin early summer 2026.
Obviously, there could be some snags along the way, but give me a as you walk me through the timeline again, what's the estimated amount of time that you think we'll have until it's complete?
Right, so we're looking into 2031 as the tentative completion date. These are proven contract partners that have done this in the U.S. and abroad, have been proven to be able to execute these managed lanes and high-level infrastructure projects, and we think it's a win-win, not only for that northern perimeter, but really for the metro area as a whole. So there will be some headaches during construction, as always. We'll do our best to mitigate those and make sure we're raising awareness when we do have lane impacts.
Talk to me about that. I don't know if the plan is in place yet, but is most of the work going to be done at night, or will it be done during the day and night? How will that work?
Typically how you see it, if there is work happening during the day, it's going to be behind barricades and not influencing traffic on those mainline lanes, but there will be some impacts in overnight hours. And that will continue to show itself as they finalize design and we really get that formalized plan for how they're going to stage construction. But just in the short term, what folks will see is some vegetation clearing ramp up in September and October, and that just allows the contracted partner to establish a work zone, safe ingress and egress to actually get things built, to build those express lanes in both directions.
Can you share with our viewers live along that corridor or travel along that corridor, which bridges and interchanges will be, we will see most of the significant changes?
So we did some advanced work that we completed in 2024 that was connected to this project. So the new bridges you've seen on Pitts Road, Kimball Bridge Road, and also Roberts Drive are kind of a preview of things to come for some of the bridge enhancements. There will be some brand new interchanges that provide direct access to the State Route 400 express lanes. I don't know all of those off the top of my head, but that's definitely something that we'll push out there. And I think we have the tentative locations published on our website, and there will be other opportunities for direct merges as well. like we talked about earlier, the express lanes transit through our partners at MARTA, utilizing the bus rapid transit service. There's going to be several stations along the corridor for them to promote and have efficient operations as well.
Yeah, do we know how many lanes will be affected by it? Like, will you have to shut down some lanes, I guess, in some spots and that kind of thing?
We should maintain the existing traffic lanes that are available now, going north and south on your main line travel lanes. Again, there may be times where those will be reduced, more than likely in the night hours. There may be some shrinkage of lanes as we shift things over to build in a certain area, but it's always our goal with these major projects to mitigate those delays as much as possible. But depending on who you talk to, there's really no good time to do construction, but we'll do our best to reduce that.
And you always do. Analysis shows that the express lane could be up to 30% faster. How will that speed benefit the drivers in the real world situations?
Yeah, I think if we're just putting like an hour total to it, I mean, it could save almost 20,000 hours a day for just people traveling in that 16-mile corridor, generally taking advantage of the optional express lanes. Also seeing the benefits to the drivers in the mainline lanes. We're not taking away any lanes that exist today, and I think we've proven that this express lanes concept has worked very well in other parts of Metro, specifically a Northwest Corridor, and this is even a larger footprint. This is more lanes dedicated in both directions. It's going to be 2 lanes in each direction from North Spring MARTA going towards McFarland. Once it gets to McGinnis, it's going to just be 1 lane, but a lot of options. And again, I think the transit piece is going to be huge to build out things.
Sounds like a lot of work, but I know you guys are going to be all over it. You'll keep us safe, and we'll be talking to you more about it as we go along.
Yeah, for sure. It's the biggest project in GDOT history, and we're excited, and we hope the citizens are looking forward to the improvements.
Kyle Collins, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for your insight today, my friend.
Okay, take care. Be safe.
Yep. All right, folks, don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We got much more for you coming up after the break. Yeah, believe it or not, we still got students heading back to school, even some starting today, believe it or not. And as those students head back to school, it's a busy time on the roads and in the neighborhoods across Georgia. With school zones buzzing and routines shifting, it becomes very crucial for families to stay alert and prioritize safety. Here with us now is Lance Hester, Deputy Chief of DeKalb County's Operation for America Medical Response. Lance, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's start with looking at how the AMR, I'm going to call it that for short, helps out during the back-to-school season. What do you guys do to keep kids safe on those roads out there?
Yeah, most certainly. So during this season, back to school, we see an uptick in responses. So what we do is we like to get out in the community and basically make sure that we get that communication out to those students and those parents. So here recently in July, we did a back to school bash. So what we did at that back to school bash is we promoted the safety tips. So we like to focus on 3 of them, which is bus safety, bicycle safety, and walk-in safety. And we were also able to do some hands-only CPR also at this event.
Yeah, I got to imagine that the elementary agers do a lot of the walking, at least to school. What advice do you give for parents and the children to ensure that those crosswalks are safe?
Yeah, so we want to always make sure that we're using the sidewalks. That is very important. And use the crosswalk. So use the crosswalk and wait for the light to change, and always wear visible clothing as well.
Yeah. What are some of the most common risks that occur around school buses, and how can drivers be safe that they don't have any incidents with students?
So drivers really need to ensure that they watch out for the school buses. And I want to make it very clear to everyone that even an emergency response vehicle like an ambulance going to an emergency, we have to stop for buses. We have to make a complete stop for buses. We have to wait for the students to cross, and then we proceed to the emergency. So it's very important that no one is excluded here, right? So when buses are out and their students are aboard in those buses, we as medical technicians also need to make sure that we stop and let the buses go.
I did not know that. Did not know that. Some new information there. So if and I got to imagine this now, if we hear sirens coming and I'm a bus driver, I would probably hold the kids on the bus before you move around me, but you're saying that ambulance would have to wait.
Yes, because we find that it's much dangerous if we're going past the buses. We don't know if students are coming around the bus, or we don't know who's coming off of the bus. So we take it safe and we shut it down.
Great information to know there. All right, so in case of emergency like that, how can families ensure that their children are prepared to respond quickly and safely?
So the parents really need to ensure that the kids know how to dial 911. So parents need to know that children know how to dial 911, and they have an interested neighbor that they can possibly go to in the event of an emergency. But in addition to that, have an emergency contact list for the children to be able to call someone in the event of emergency. But also, what's very important is knowing how to dial 911.
Yes, that's absolutely right? And some phones and cell phones have made it easier where you hit one button. I know for kids, they have that phone where they can just hit one button, it goes to a parent or it goes to 911. So that's very, very good advice there. Lastly, what is the most important advice you'd give a parent in preparing for this school year in particular?
I would just please be safe out there in the streets. Always wear visible clothing. Always use the crosswalks because it's really, really dark outside. So some of the in the morning, so some of the motorists are unable to see children and parents crossing. So if you can stay as visible as possible, please do. And also during those busy rush hours, again, and I'm stressing the crosswalks, because a lot of times we see a lot of pedestrians that are injured, secondary to not using the crosswalk. So please make sure that you're doing that as well.
It's very important. There's not a crossing guard at every single corner. So you're absolutely right. You got to be very, very careful and heed the signs, folks. Thank you so much, Lance, for joining us this morning. And thank you so much for your insight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care. All right. The race for governor is on. It's already starting to heat up. We're going to get the latest on a preview from Zach Merchant about Georgia's vote. Coming up. Stay right with us. Welcome back to the show. Georgia's race for governor is starting to get a little bit messier now as one candidate is challenging the legality of a rival's campaign funding that now has the race being diverted to the courtroom. Joining us now, as he does every Friday, is 11Alive Zach Merchant, co-host of The Georgia Vote.
Chesley,
Zach,
good
welcome
to see
the
you.
show.
Good to see you as always.
Good to see you on a Friday. Lets me know I'm at the end of the week and it's payday too.
That's right,
man.
right.
You look good, my friend. All right, so talk to me about what's going on with this lawsuit.
Yeah, look, this is sort of the latest escalation in a long simmering and now kind of boiling over point of tension in the Republican side of the governor's race. Attorney General Chris Carr, who is in the governor's race, is suing his main rival, Republican Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, in federal court over allegations that Jones is violating state campaign finance laws. At the risk of kind of getting too into the weeds here, we want to simplify as much as possible. Carr alleges that Burt Jones is taking advantage unfairly, and he alleges unconstitutionally, of a special fundraising committee that Jones has access to, but Carr does not.
So what are the campaigns saying?
Well, you can imagine the Carr campaign is very supportive of this, and the Jones campaign is not. I want to give you a little bit of the flavor of the statements coming out of both camps here. First, we talked with Neil Bidding. He is Chris Carr's campaign manager. We spoke with him yesterday, just a little bit after we first broke this news that this suit was being filed in the Northern District of Georgia. And Neil said, in part, we are trying to stop Burt Jones from violating campaign contribution rules and make sure that the same rules apply to everybody. On the other side, Kendall Parker, a spokeswoman for Burt Jones, said this: Georgia's lackluster attorney general defended this law 2 years ago. Now he's running for governor, and he wants to challenge the same law he once defended. If hypocrisy were an Olympic sport, he would take gold.
Wow.
Yeah, so the tension is ratcheting up here a little bit. It's important to remember, too, this primary is still way off in the distance. We're 8, 9, 10-ish months away from just the primary race. Important to remember, too, anytime we're talking about litigation,
Yeah.
we talk a lot about the complaint being filed, the initial suit being filed. It is a starting point, not an ending point. This is all going to be hashed out in court moving forward.
Keeping us interested, keeping us involved, I believe, right? So
Absolutely.
campaign finances isn't the only fight that's going on, right? We have other conflicts going on.
Yeah, is it starting to feel like politics season yet? It is to me. So obviously, Derek Dooley, son of Vince Dooley, legendary Georgia football coach and a football coach himself. Derek Dooley most recently was the head football coach at Tennessee. He jumped into the Senate race here in Georgia as a Republican. And I mean, within 45 or 50 minutes of him announcing that he is entering the race on Monday morning, another Republican Senate contender, Congressman Mike Collins, had an ad out attacking Derek Dooley. I mean, he didn't even make it 60 minutes into his candidacy before the attack started coming out. And wow. The tenor of the attack highlights what I think is very likely to be a flashpoint moving forward into this Republican campaign. Mike Collins alleges that Derek Dooley is not MAGA enough, is not enough of a Trump supporter. And he used the tagline, Derek Dooley spent his life on the sidelines, and said he was never with Trump. Dooley, of course, in his launch video and his press statements and in his own statements since he's gotten in this race, he has touted his support for the president. But in a Republican primary, your MAGA credentials, especially in this era of Republican politics, matter a lot. And Collins is trying to say that Derek Dooley just hasn't been around, hasn't been involved, and doesn't have the credit for it.
Wow. So on the Democratic side of the race for governor, it's already crowded, but we got a new name entering into it.
Yeah, another shakeup in a week and really a month that's seen a lot of them. Mike Thurmond, the former DeKalb County CEO, has now officially entered the race for governor. He's a Democrat, and a few weeks ago, Chesley, you and I talked about this, that he had strongly hinted that he was going to get into this race in a speech in South Georgia. He said, he walked right to the line of saying he was going to run. Now it's official. We helped break that news this week. Thurmond is staking a little bit of a different lane than some of his potential, his announced challengers in the Democratic primary. Thurmond talked about trying to stay away from what he calls the hyper-partisanship of this era of politics. He spent a lot of time talking about urban Georgia, but also rural Georgia. He described himself as a bridge builder. He's in a Democratic field that also includes State Senator Jason Estevez, former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, and others. We're going to see how this all plays out, but voters are going to have plenty of choices in this primary race.
Yeah, and probably some more trying to enter into it. We'll see.
And they can see Mike Thurmond on the Georgia Vote this Sunday.
All right. Zach Merchant, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yep. And you can watch the Georgia Vote with Zach and Faith Jesse Sunday right here at 11 and on 11Alive Plus. Make sure you check it out. All right. It's a buzzworthy mission taking root in parts of the country. The Great Southeast Pollinator Census returns this month, and it's not just about counting bees. Let's bring in the University of Georgia Extension Office agent here, Becky Griffin. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me, Chesley.
Oh, man, glad you're here to explain all this. First, what is the overall purpose of this count?
Well, the Great Southeast Pollinator Census has a few goals. One of them is to educate all of our community members on the importance of pollinators and beneficial insects. And of course, on these 2 days coming up, we're going to be generating a snapshot number of our pollinator population. So very important, very fun activity coming up in 2 weeks.
For people who may not know how important it is, pollen, let's put it that way, or how important it is for growing crops and things like that, kind of explain that to folks, why we do this.
All right, the easiest way to explain it is watermelon. So we all love watermelon. We all love it on the 4th of July. Watermelon is one of those plants that has a female flower on one part and a male flower on the other. So you have to have a pollinator to get a watermelon. So if we don't have pollinators, guess what? We don't have watermelons. And that's the easiest way to explain it.
Yeah, we lose out on some of our fruits, things that we love, right? Yeah.
Right.
Some people think bees or pollinators, there's many of them, are more of a nuisance, right? But they help us out. So talk to me about the census, how it helps fill the gaps left by more of the traditional science research.
Right. Well, this is a community-based event. So you don't have to have a background in entomology. You don't have to have a PhD. You can just learn about the insects and the categories we're looking for really simply on our website through your local extension office. And then on those days, you find a favorite pollinator plant. And that's just a plant that shows some insect activity. And for 15 minutes, you count the insects that land on that plant, and you upload those counts to the University of Georgia website. And we get that data all cleaned up, and researchers are able to use it, policymakers are able to use it, as well as growers and even educators. This is a big event for schools as well.
Yeah, seems simple enough for me to even get involved, but is there some training that goes along with it?
Well, if you head to the website, you will find everything you need to know, including videos, counting guides, lots of photos. Your local extension office is a good resource. And in the Southeast, we have over 200 events going on where people can go to an event and count with others, have some little pollinator camaraderie as we count pollinators for such a good cause.
Sounds like fun. Sounds like fun. What does a successful count look like for a project like this?
A successful count just means that somebody is passionate and willing to sit there and for 15 minutes give it their best shot.
Yeah.
And uploading those counts means we've had a successful count. So even if you don't see anything or your numbers are low, that's still important data that we would love to see.
What kind of numbers are we looking for? What kind of numbers are you looking for?
Well, I'm looking for a high number of participants. I will be happy with what bees and butterflies they count, but especially Georgia. This project started in Georgia and it spread to the entire Southeast. Since Georgia is its home state, I am looking for our Georgians to really show up and show out and count pollinators on the August 22nd and 23rd. We don't want these other states to outshine our home state of Georgia.
All right, and so people can get involved just by going to your website, right? That's how they sign up?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to sign up, but all the information is there, and you can just Google Great Southeast Pollinator Census, and it'll be the first thing that comes up.
Real quickly, for those that are maybe afraid of insects like my wife, don't want to get out there, scared of bees or flies or whatever, what do you say to them?
I say to them, when you're standing there counting insects, you have nothing for them. You're not threatening their nests. You're not bothering their young. You are just watching them visit the pollen and the nectar. So just stay away, don't grab anything, and we do not have records of people getting stung in this event. So just hang back and enjoy the show.
Becky Griffin, thank you so much for your insight and your information. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, and I look forward to seeing your counts as well.
Absolutely, thanks. Have a great weekend. All right, the White House is opening up some new options for 401ks. We're going to talk to CNN's Maribel Aber when we return. All right, welcome back, folks. Buckle up. President Trump's trade moves might make you hit the brakes on your next ride. CNN's Maribel Aber joins us now from the NASDAQ market site in New York. Good morning to you, Maribel.
Good morning, Chesley.
All right, sounds like the auto world may be shifting into a whole new gear.
Okay, automakers have already lost nearly $12 billion due to the trade war, Chesley. That's according to the Wall Street Journal, which says it's the biggest financial hit the industry has seen since the pandemic. Now, yesterday, Toyota said higher tariffs had cut its profit by $3 billion. That's the highest of any automaker yet. General Motors and Ford have each reported a financial hit of about $1 billion. With different auto markets having different regulations, some believe the trade war could lead to more autos being built closer to where they'll eventually be sold. When the auto tariffs were announced earlier this year, many assumed car makers would increase prices, but that hasn't happened yet. Automakers are trying to balance efforts to protect their profit margins against the risk of lower sales if they drive customers away with higher prices. So it's a really fine line, Chesley.
Gotcha. All right. Mortgage rates just took a little bit of a vacation, but the drama of home buying isn't over just yet, right?
Okay, well, mortgage rates dropped to the lowest level since April. The average rate on a 30-year fixed loan fell to 6.63% from 6.72% last week, according to Freddie Mac. Even with the drop, though, Chesley, you're right, it's still higher than a year ago when the rate was averaging 6.47%. Now, this marks the third week in a row that rates have come down, but even with the declining rates, the housing market remains in the slump that began more than 3 years ago. And just last year, home sales sank to their lowest level in nearly 30 years, Chesley.
All right. We understand that the White House is opening up some new options for your 401k.
An executive order from President Trump clears the way for cryptocurrency in your 401k account. So eventually, you may also be able to invest in other alternative assets like private equity and real estate. But first, regulations will need to be rewritten to allow the new investment choices. Now, the executive order is a major win for private equity and hedge funds. They've been wanting to tap into the pool of money in 401k accounts. But alternative assets come with new risks for investors. Some can be complex, charge higher fees, be harder to buy and sell. Pension plans are longtime investors in private markets. They use the prospects of the higher returns to help meet their obligations. But Chesley, many employers have replaced pensions with 401ks, and that's just one of the the reasons why Wall Street firms have been looking for new sources of growth.
Got it, got it. All right, this next one is very important to me as my side hustle as a college professor. ChatGPT has unlocked its next level. What's going to be in version 5?
Okay, OpenAI has introduced its most powerful model yet. It's available to anyone, including free users. The company says GPT-5, it's smarter, it's faster, it's a lot more useful than previous versions. OpenAI says the model is particularly strong in domains like writing, coding, and healthcare. CEO Sam Altman said interacting with the new technology feels like talking to a PhD-level expert on any topic. The company said among the improvements with the new model is that it has been trained to recognize when a task can't be finished. It also is trained to avoid speculation and can explain limitations more clearly. All that reduces unsupported claims compared to prior ChatGPT models. OpenAI said GPT-5 is available now at no cost. You know, Chesley, the next-gen chatbot, GPT-5, it's ready to talk, teach, possibly take over your inbox, but not take over your job. Because, you know, Chesley, even though it may be able to talk like a PhD, you still have to be able to teach and translate that for your students. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
All right. I'm going to rest in what you just said because it feels like it's getting closer and closer to becoming me.
No, there can only be one.
Thank you so much, Maribel. I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend. All right. Folks, don't go anywhere. We got a great story for you about a young woman beginning a new career in the second season of her life. We're back right after this. Now a story that proves you're never too old to fulfill your dreams. At 53, Lily Sims has completed firefighter training in Henry County. 11Alive Cheryl Preheim has this wonderful story. This is such a powerful story, Cheryl. How did you first hear about Lily and what made you want to do this story?
She's one of those people, Chesley, you meet her and it's like you're meeting a magnet. She's incredible. I actually met her at an Olympic watch party for UGA track and field star and Team USA athlete Elijah Godwin. She's a friend of the family, and we connected, we stayed in touch, and a few months ago she called me and said, "You're never going to believe what I'm doing. I'm in firefighter training." I was like, "You got to tell me more, tell me everything." And the more she told me, the more I knew this was a story that everybody had to hear, Chesley.
Wow. At 53 years old, she's the oldest to complete Henry County's program there. How does she view her role as in breaking down barriers?
Yeah, she says this is a job literally of breaking down walls and ceilings, but so many barriers as she does that. So I told her, "Lily, you're 53 years young and 53 years strong," and that is history making in itself to be the oldest recruit to make it through firefighter training in Henry County. But she's a woman of color, she's someone who's completely changed careers and changed her life in doing so. When she was in her 20s, she was a medic in the military and did a lot of things between then and now. But Chesley, to be able to be a firefighter, Lily did a lifestyle revamp of her life. She lost 103 pounds and has a message for people. One, it's never too late. Don't let anything stop you. And if you just commit and do the work day in, day out, anything's possible. And that's the barrier she says means the most to break.
Wow. You mentioned some things that she was doing before, or, you know, when she was younger, a little bit younger. But what was she doing just before she became a firefighter?
You know, she was really just trying to get healthy. She's a mom. She's a mom of 2, and she really wanted to be an example to them that you can think out of the box to redefine yourself and your career, and she's doing both of those things simultaneously. But she says she's kind of getting back to her roots. I asked her, I said, "I know you were a medic, but why firefighting?" And she actually said, Chesley, that there was a time that her mom was having a medical crisis, and when they called 911, it was Henry County Emergency Rescue that came to the door, and in that moment she said, "I see the difference they make, and I want to be a part of that."
Wow. So many life lessons here.
Yeah.
What stuck out to you the most doing this report?
Just how humbling it is when you really experience someone else's journey. So I was just blown away in respect for what she does and what it took to get her here, and really just the need that she's filling, and people you don't think about every day, Chesley, but they're working every day to be the ones that answer the call when anybody needs something. And it's just humbling to know there are people who choose that path in their lives, and then we all benefit in some way.
So you not only got a chance to see what she does, you got a chance to experience it.
I tried. I tried. We go back to the humbling part I was just talking about. Yeah, I really wanted to get a little taste of what she's experiencing. So we started off, she was suiting me up, and the goal is 2 minutes or less to put on all the gear. I didn't even come close. I'm like trying to find the buckle, and it's heavy. Just the suit they're wearing without the tools is 50 pounds, and then you add the tools, and it's 70 pounds. So they're wearing that protective gear. So they're putting it on quickly. She taught me how to do that. Then she takes me over to the truck, Chesley, and she's like, okay, just grab that hose. And I'm like, no. I could not even really get the hose off the truck. And then, you know, they allowed us to turn the water on and get the sensation of what it's like to hold that hose up. That is an intensity that you watch when you see those things maybe on TV, but to experience it blew me away. She was literally standing behind me, Chesley, like holding onto my back because it's kicking you back so strong. Yeah. I needed her to help kind of keep me upright as you're holding the hose. It was so exhilarating and humbling, and I just told her I can't even put into words the respect I have for her.
Yeah, sounds fascinating. Lily is in a new chapter of her life, but she's serving now a greater need for our community, right? Yeah,
no doubt about it. There are fire departments all over the state, from small rural departments to the biggest ones in Metro Atlanta, that really need firefighters, who need more recruits and are trying to find, you know, unique and creative ways to recruit people. And I think Lily's such a great tool in that, because she shows that it's maybe just not the people you're thinking of, the 20-something coming out of high school or the young person, but it could be any person who feels something inside them that wants to serve a greater good and make a difference. And she's breaking those barriers and filling a need really that is a big deal for a lot of cities. We need fire and rescue personnel for safety in our cities, and when those jobs are open, it impacts all of us.
Sounds great. Cheryl, can't wait to see and hear more about this story.
Thanks a lot.
Go, Lily, go. And go Cheryl as well. Go, Cheryl.
Still sore.
All right, the purpose of our Better Work series is to connect you with career opportunities in hot industries looking to hire right now in Metro Atlanta. To learn more about the resources available, head to 11alive.com/betterwork, sponsored by Career Rise. We have your 7-day outlook in just a few, folks, and my final take. Stay with us. Go, Cheryl, go. 2 more bonus days to go, folks. We got one today, only a 20% chance for an isolated shower, 85 degrees for the afternoon high, low humidity. I mean, you got to enjoy it, folks, while you can. 86 for the high on Saturday. Another day we'll have only a 20% chance for some isolated showers around, 30% chance to be heading to Sunday, 40% chance as we start the work week next week, going up to a 50% chance by Wednesday. Also going up will be that temperature. Yeah, we're looking at 85 by Tuesday, but then 88 on Wednesday. Thursday, we're looking at 90 for the high temperature. Some of that humidity will start to creep back, so we'll be talking about the heat index coming up as well. So enjoy these bonus days while you can, because August, the real August, is coming our way. All right, you know, change can be tough for a lot of people, but change can be for the better. And the MLB is doing just that, where barriers will be broken. Jan Powell is set to become the first woman umpire in the major leagues this year. And she's going to do so right here in the A this weekend. Powell will work the bases on Saturday at the Braves versus the Marlins game on Saturday. And then she's going to be behind home plate on Sunday's game, calling it out. Powell worked the minor leagues since 2016. And she worked a couple preseason MLB games in 2024 and also this year. Now she's being called up to the majors. You go, girl. I like that. MLB has been exclusive long enough, right? Yeah, the move comes about 28 years after the NBA did it, 10 years after the NFL, and 3 years after Men's Soccer World Cup. This only leaves the NHL left. That's the only league that doesn't have a female referee. Come on, hockey. It's time to get a female on the ice. You can do it, and maybe with the new team starting right here. That's right. I said it. It could happen. History is going to take place right here again in Atlanta this weekend, as the MLB will have the first female umpire. She's going to call the games. I can't wait to hear her voice. It'll probably be better than that. That's all we got for you today, folks. Have a great day. Make it a great weekend, and try to encourage someone, all right?